Live from Hazard, Kentucky, this is Jammin John's Wrestling News. Here's your news for Friday, March 1st, 2019. Ronda Rousey got criticized by legendary wrestling manager Jim Cornette for breaking the fourth wall in her recent tweets with Becky Lynch. The tweet that got Jim Cornette upset from Ronda Rousey was, "Rebecca Quinn, I don't care what the script says, I'm beating the living crap out of you the next time I see you." Although she didn't actually say crap, gotta keep it PG. Jim Cornette seen this and fired back and said, "I hate it when the people I've really been enjoying have to remind us it's all fake when trying to be real. Guess I'll go back to watching Curse of Oak Island. At least there really is something down there." Tye Dillinger, now known as Shawn Spears, released details about his future plans in wrestling by tweeting on Twitter, "Okay, under 2 weeks out and my excitement is already building. So let's get to work. Now accepting bookings for shows after May 31st, 2019 and available now for select signings and appearances. Email spearsbookings@gmail.com. Thank you all, and I look forward to this." So if you'd like to book Shawn Spears, aka Tye Dillinger, for your next show, you can go and email him at spearsbookings@gmail.com after May 31st, 2019. It should be perfect. ProWrestlingSheet.com is reporting that WWE has hired the Ultimate Warrior's widow Dana for a position on the company's creative team. Dana has reportedly been offering an additional female perspective, but that position is said to not be permanent just yet. Also, according to Jerry the King Lawler, WWE ring announcer and Hall of Famer Howard Finkel is said to be in rough shape. Finkel reportedly suffered a serious stroke recently, and WWE has kept information about him private. Apparently, even friends of Finkel don't know what is going on other than the fact that he's been in poor health for years. I want to send good vibes and well wishes out to the Fink, a great man, one of my favorite ring announcers in professional wrestling. I got to talk to him back in 2008 on WWE.com when he was doing the Finkel Factor on there. So, Howard, I hope you're doing all right, brother, and I hope you get better. Also, in an update on Tommaso Ciampa being injured, PWInsider.com is reporting that Ciampa is dealing with a neck injury that forced WWE to change plans for this past Monday's Raw. Ciampa and Johnny Gargano were originally scheduled to be part of a four-way tag team match against Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, Aleister Black and Ricochet, and a fourth team. The injury is said to have been lingering for the past 4 to 5 weeks, and the decision was made to pull him from the Raw match this week. So I want to send good vibes and well wishes out to Tommaso as well. Can't wait to see him back in the ring. And on the topic of Ciampa and Gargano, Johnny Gargano recently did an interview with WKYC.com, and here are the highlights from that interview. On getting the call that he was going to the main roster, Johnny said, "I was actually in Cleveland when I got the call that I was going to be on Raw and SmackDown. I was at my mom's house and it was in the morning. They said, 'Hey, you're going to be on Raw and SmackDown in a couple days,' which is pretty crazy. It seems like all of my biggest life events happen when I'm actually at home in Cleveland around my family. I was there for my dad's 77th birthday party, so I got to go to his party later that night and say, 'Hey, I'm going to be on Raw and SmackDown in a couple days.' It's super cool, man. I know I've used the word cool a lot, but I'm still just a kid from Cleveland, and life is just cool." And on both he and Candice LeRae being in the Royal Rumble, Johnny said, "Everything is so mind-blowing. I kind of take one day at a time because you never know what the next day brings, and I found out I was going to be in the Royal Rumble the night before. Luckily enough, my mom was there for the takeover, so I kind of had to tell her, 'Hey, I think you have to stay now.' Candice's parents were there, so they got to see me and Candice in the Royal Rumble. For her to appear in the Women's Royal Rumble and me to appear in the Men's Royal Rumble, it's just so cool." John Cena recently did an interview with UpRocks.com and commented on Becky Lynch's current push into WWE. John Cena said, "We are in the entertainment business. Whatever the consumer finds most entertaining, regardless of sex, race, creed, color, religion, anything. What the consumer wants, WWE will give. I think Daniel Bryan a few years ago in the main event of WrestleMania was a great example of that. And I think the women that are supposedly within the main event of WrestleMania this year were pushing forward toward that historic monumental occasion. I'm one of those people who think that it should have happened a whole lot earlier, but I'm very proud that our audience is at a point where they are screaming at the top of their lungs, hey, this is what we want to see. I was so extremely happy for Becky Lynch to be able to find this personality that she carved out of thin air and almost out of desperation and became so successful with it. John Cena continued on by saying, I was about to be fired. I was in a Becky Lynch type scenario where I was forgotten and I was about to be let go, and I took a chance on myself. I took a chance on redefining my character, and it worked, and I've never stopped. And it wasn't the corporate headquarters first, second, third, fourth, fifth, or sixth choice, but the audience began to make noise, and I connected with the audience, and the rest is history. And that's what's wonderful about WWE. It truly is an enterprise system for any performer to connect with the audience. And once they connect with the audience, it doesn't matter if they're male or female. It doesn't matter where you're from, what you look like. You become a centerpiece of our entertainment, and I think that's the most fascinating thing about what we do. It truly is go out there and connect and then see what happens. And finally, here on Jammin John's Wrestling News, Ryan Satin of ProWrestlingSheet.com noted the following about Bruce Prichard's return to WWE in a creative role. Ryan Satin said, I'm told initial reports describing Prichard's new job as being as important as possible and that he will be a top point person in creative going forward were overblown. He did, however, produce that awesome Batista segment. During his recent podcast, Prichard commented on his return by saying, I'm extremely proud and extremely happy to be back in the family at WWE. I had my first TVs back this past week. I had an absolute blast seeing everybody. I'm not being coy, but a lot still needs to be worked out as far as what my role will be. I'm going to come back and help out whatever I can be most valuable. We're working through it. We're figuring out where I might fit best and how and what and why and everything else. It's something that happened pretty quickly with me going to TV. Bruce Prichard continued on by saying, a lot has changed in 10 years. I have to see where I fit in and they have to see where I fit in. There's still a lot of questions to be answered, and I'm looking forward to an incredible journey. That is your news for Friday, March 1st, 2019. Check back here Monday for another Jammin John's Wrestling News Flash Briefing on Amazon Alexa devices, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, and iTunes. Follow me on Twitter at John Caldwell, JONCOLWELL. Follow me on Instagram at Jammin John. If you'd like to sponsor Jammin John's Wrestling News or your wrestling promotion, wanting to get your next big event out, you can email me, jzcaldwell@gmail.com. That's JZCOLWELL@gmail.com. Big shout out to Ryan Hurdle and Tony Nelson for subscribing to my Patreon. You too can subscribe to me by going to patreon.com/JamminJohn. I have free packages on there ranging from $3 to $7. Not a whole lot of money. I would really appreciate it if you supported me a little bit financially. Once again, that's patreon.com/JamminJohn. This is Jammin John saying thanks, goodbye, and have a great weekend, everybody.